In 2010, Citizens United versus FEC decided that political spending is a form of free speech that should be protected under the First Amendment, and corporations and individuals were free to support candidates through special interest funding. This 5-4 decision by the U.S. Supreme Court determined that corporations are individuals, and as individuals, their free speech can be limited or lessened. The definition of free speech is broadening to include more entities and cover different speech acts, including political expressions. This interpretation unravels a number of problems surrounding identity, but when campaign finance laws are considered, this confusion is magnified. This case has produced some unintended consequences. Before the U.S. Supreme Court decision, there were strict limits on the amount of money individuals, corporations, and other entities could spend on a certain candidate or party. There were restrictions on when and where the money could be spent, and clear terms identifying who's funneling money into campaigns, which made it much more difficult for elections to be decided and influenced. This legislation has opened the floodgates for corporations and individuals to spend unlimited amounts of money on candidates and parties using super political action committees, super PACs. Super PACs spawned very quickly from this bill. In fact, in 2010, one PAC per day was being created, and the amount of super PACs doubled almost every week. In the same year, 2010, super PACs raised $89 million between 63 groups, and the group American Crossroads, founded by the former advisor George H.W. Bush, or W. Bush, Karl Rove, and led the charge with about $22 million, which is considered a drop in the bucket nowadays. The most well-known and funded super PACs of today will raise millions of dollars weekly to meet expectations. In this year alone, $1.5 billion between 2,200 groups were funded. Money equals influence, and the lobbyists for oil, insurance, or Wall Street corporations continue to fund their chosen politicians to gain political and mostly financial benefit. To support the law which says direct political support is forbidden, super PACs advocate for or against candidates using media outlets and lobbying pressure. Many of the television commercials and radio broadcasts that are heard are produced and sponsored exclusively by these special interest organizations. This bill has too many loopholes that are easily manipulated. To raise concern, Stephen Colbert, comedian and political commentator, highlighted the lack of regulation on super PACs by setting up his own, showing that donor disclosure isn't enforced by the FEC and that money can be used for almost anything with little to no limitations. On top of that, these organizations can also be infiltrated with dark money, hidden money, with unknown agendas. With these things in mind, it's not hard to understand why corporations and wealthy individuals jumped at this opportunity to weigh in on the country's direction, and also why this would be concerning for the average citizen. Super PACs generate the voting bloc and drowns out the particular voice of a citizen, mostly backing big businesses instead of personal local concerns. So get rid of or limit super PACs in their range of impact and money is a difficult but necessary step to regulate the democratic process. Return the election process to one vote, one voice. Cause politicians to appeal to the voters and not sway toward big business dollars. Corporations are made up of individuals, so their concerns can be addressed through the vote of each employee instead of power by numbers vote, a bully vote. Educate potential voters and increase awareness of where and how much to donate to a political campaign. Ensure that there is true oversight and proper enforcement to corporate donations.
3:30.
These are a few ways to level the playing field so that all voices and all concerns are equally weighed and corruption is minimized. Do you think super PACs should continue to challenge the authenticity of something so integral to our democracy?
3:43.